In Valorant, there are so many settings that it can be very hard to keep track of what every single one of them do and how useful they are. In this video, we're going to go through the top 10 best settings to instantly help you improve in 2023 and help you ascend to the next level. So without further ado, let's get straight into the first tip. For the first tip, it's a pretty simple one: corpses. Ever been playing a ranked game and noticed the cluster of dead bodies all over an area? Ever found that really distracting? Well, this tip will not only get rid of those annoying bodies, but it will also boost your FPS. For this setting, go into the general and scroll down to the other section and turn the corpses off. While playing as Sage, you'll see a significant difference, as the player models will no longer be strewn about on the ground. In situations where you're trying to locate your pocket jet, determining which body represents them can be substantially more challenging without this. It may be daunting at first, but once you get some playtime in, you will forget corpses were even a thing. Not to mention all that extra FPS you'll be getting.
Have you ever asked yourself after a bad game, what am I missing? Or sought help from impatient friends? Or browsed desperately for answers that only bring up more questions? Your self-doubting days are over with Discovery, the first game-focused AI. Discovery is trained on the world's leading esports athletes to be your everyday personal coach. That's right, Discovery can help you improve your gameplay by giving you tips and strategies to take your game to the next level. Get started at ProGuides.com.
For this tip, we are going to go through some basic video settings that allow you to gain more FPS. The most critical setting in Valorant is undoubtedly the resolution. Ideally, you should aim to play Valorant at your monitor's native resolution. However, if you find yourself struggling with low frame rates, you might consider reducing the resolution slightly. To lower your resolution, go into settings and under the video and graphics quality, just set everything to low. This move can provide a significant boost in performance, but the trade-off will be a decrease in visual sharpness, which can be a little bit annoying. Another quick tip is to ensure that your FPS is uncapped. You can set a cap for it if you prefer, but in my opinion, it's best to leave it off. Go into video settings and scroll down to find and adjust this setting however you'd like. If you're playing Valorant with an NVIDIA GPU, it's ideal to have NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency turned on. It aids in greatly decreasing input lag, which leads to more precise and responsive in-game actions. Unfortunately, this feature is not available to AMD users, as it's exclusively designed for NVIDIA. Next, we're going to go through the main video settings, so get ready to pause this video if you want to change them in your own game. For multi-threaded rendering, make sure that this is turned on. Material quality is set to low, texture quality to medium, detail quality to low, UI quality to medium. Vignette and VSync both turned off. Anti-aliasing to MSAA 2 times, anisotropic filtering to 4 times, improved clarity on, experimental sharpening on, bloom off, distortion off, cast shadows off. Let's talk about an often overlooked piece of gaming wisdom: syncing up your monitor's refresh rate with your Windows settings. Picture this: you've shelled out for a high-speed monitor, but you're not seeing the slick, super smooth gameplay you've expected. So why is that? Well, if your Windows settings don't match up with your monitor's refresh rate, it's like showing up to a 5-star restaurant and ordering fast food. Your game could stutter or lag because your monitor and Windows settings are basically speaking different languages. So take a minute, right-click Desktop and go to Display Settings. Scroll down to the bottom where you will see Advanced Display Settings, and once you're here, click on Refresh Rate setting and click your desired refresh rate. And make sure that it matches the advertised display rate of your monitor. In order to understand the raw input buffer setting in Valorant, it's critical to first comprehend what raw input means and why it has an impact on your gameplay. Raw input is the process by which your computer collects mouse input data. This method allows Valorant to directly access the input from your mouse hardware by bypassing the operating system of the computer. What this essentially means is, instead of Valorant asking your computer what the mouse is doing, it asks the mouse directly instead. Without raw input, Valorant would need to navigate through various systems to obtain the mouse input, which would introduce a delay in-game between when you move your mouse and when your crosshair moves in-game. To turn raw input buffer on, dash over to General and look at the last setting on the first paragraph. Now let's see about picking up those subtle sound cues in your game, like the soft thud of enemy footsteps or whispers of abilities being used, and then sharing that info with your squad. This can totally flip around in your favor. And when you're queuing comp when your rank's on the line and team strategy is vital, it's even more important. HRTF is your secret weapon for catching every little audio detail. It gives you a greater range of direction with your audio to be able to really isolate where sounds are coming from to a higher degree of accuracy. So why not flick it on in the settings? Of course, everyone's got their own style, and if you feel HRTF doesn't suit you, there's no stress. You can always switch it off. But you should definitely give it a chance. It might take a little while to get used to the HRTF audio, but once you do, it could really be a game changer. To turn it on, go to Audio, Sounds, and right at the bottom you'll spot it: Enable HRTF. Let's talk about a feature in Valorant that some might find to be a bit gruesome: the blood setting. When it's switched on, it can help you know when your shots land. You'll see a burst of red and you'll know you've hit your mark. Simple as that. Plus, it does add a touch of realism to the game, making each successful hit that little bit more satisfying. Of course, it's not for everyone, but giving it a shot could actually help improve your Valorant gameplay and experience. After all, a bit of feedback from the game, even if it's in the form of virtual blood, could be useful. To turn it on, if it isn't already, go to General and scroll down to the Other and you'll notice it as the 7th option on the list. So give it a try. It might just add a bit more clarity to whether your shots are landing or not. If you frequently watch Twitch streams or YouTube videos, you might have noticed that some content creators' Valorant games display more vivid colors. The enhanced vibrancy makes things appear a little less drab and aids in more visual clarity. To achieve these deeper colors in Valorant, you can adjust settings using the NVIDIA Digital Vibrance or even through your monitor settings. By applying certain graphical adjustments, you can not only enhance Valorant's visual aesthetics, but also gain a minor competitive edge through improved contrast and color quality. Modifying your visual settings via NVIDIA's Digital Vibrance is entirely secure and there's no risk of incurring a ban for doing so. To change your Digital Vibrance settings on an NVIDIA GPU, right-click your desktop and click NVIDIA Control Panel. Then head over to Adjust Desktop Color Settings. While here, adjust your Digital Vibrance to your liking. You can also adjust your monitor's contrast to produce a similar visual effect. To understand how to modify your display settings, you should refer to your monitor's manual. Usually you can access these settings through your monitor's menu, which is typically activated by its power button, and locate the contrast and saturation options. If you're on a laptop and lack a graphics card enabling you to digitally enhance your gaming experience, the ability to alter your display settings may vary. This largely depends on the manufacturer of your laptop and the features they offer. We advise reviewing your laptop's support manual to determine if hardware-level display setting adjustments are possible. Next, let's talk about a common gaming habit that might be tripping up your chances of winning. Changing weapons using the scroll wheel might seem like a neat trick, since just rolling the wheel to switch your gear in a jiffy is nice and easy. But here's the real deal. It can mess with your precision big time. Imagine you're in the heat of the moment, your adrenaline's pumping, and your finger slips a little on the scroll wheel. Oops, instead of a shotgun, you've got a pistol facing down a horde of enemies. Not ideal, right? Sticking to the keybinds for changing weapons gives you more control and avoids accidental switches. So next time you're gearing up for a match, try ditching the scroll wheel for weapon swaps. To disable this feature, go over to Controls, Equipment, and disable Cycle to Next Weapon, and cycle to previous weapon too. Alright, let's get real about something that might be a bit distracting when you're in the Valorant zone, the spectator count. You might think this is kind of cool knowing how many people are watching you pull off those clutch plays. But it can also be a mental game, right? You see the count creeping up and suddenly there's a little more sweat on your palms and a little extra pressure on each shot. Turning off the spectator count can free you up to focus on the game and your next killer move, without the nagging feeling of being watched. Plus, let's face it, we all have those days where we'd rather not know how many people saw us just totally whiff an easy shot. So give turning off the spectator count a go. It could be the ticket to a more chill Valorant experience. In order to turn it off, head over to General and scroll down to Other and look for the Show Spectator Count. Finally, let's talk about one of those under-the-radar features in Valorant that can really up your game, the clutch mute key. Now, don't get me wrong, team comms are key for coordination, but when you're in that intense down-to-the-wire situation, a little quiet can go a long way. The clutch mute key is like your own little personal do not disturb sign, letting you zone in on your moves without all the background noise. You know those moments, right? It's just like you and the last enemy standing. Your heart's beating like a drum and bam, someone's mic feedback screeches in your ear. Not cool. With a clutch mute, you can hit that key, cut the chatter, and hone in on securing that win. It's a handy little tool that makes those high-pressure moments a whole lot more manageable. To find this setting, head over to Controls and look at the Communication tab. You will then notice it in the 4th setting down. Alright amigos, that wraps up our killer guide on the top 10 settings to instantly amp your game up in 2023. Remember, with these tweaks, you're not just sprucing up the visuals and sounds, you're unlocking the next level of your gaming prowess. So don't be shy and go ahead with giving these settings a whirl. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about having fun and enjoying the game. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to comment what you want to see next time.